welcome back. So remember, this week we have been focusing on different types of figurative language. And so remember, I should have made this a little bit more clear. So figurative language is not literal. And what do I mean by that? It means that when you are speaking literally, you're saying that what you say is exactly what it means. Whereas figurative is different because it's not exactly what it means, as we learned yesterday in hyperbole. So, for example, one of the things on the assignment was something along the lines of the dishes were stacked a million miles high. That's not literal. That is figurative. And so adding figurative language to your writing helps it much more fun to read, and it helps readers be able to visualize a little bit more. And so far what we've learned is we've learned about, excuse me everyone. We've learned about similes and metaphors, which are two different ways that you can compare two things. We've learned yesterday about hyperboles, which is an extreme over-exaggeration. And today we're going to learn about alliteration. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you an example of alliteration right off the bat and see if you can kind of figure out, just by listening to what I say, what you think it might mean. So this is an example of alliteration. Silly Sally sipped soda solemnly near the seashore. Think for a minute on what I just did. I can't call on anybody to see what they think alliteration might mean, so I'm just going to tell you. So alliteration is the repetition of sounds in a sentence. So if you listen to what I just said, and I'm going to count how many times you hear the s sound. So, Silly Sally sipped soda solemnly near the seashore. So you heard the S sound 6 different times in that sentence. And so that's what alliteration is. It's the repetition of sounds. The way that I like to remember that alliteration is the repetition of sounds is I say the word alliteration like alliteration, because it's the L sound repeating itself in that word. So I don't say the word literally, I say it figuratively. Alliteration. It's the repetition of sounds in a story or in a sentence. And so today, the writing activity I have for you is very fun. Today, I want you to write a story using the same sound, but the sound I want you to use is the sound of the first sound that is in your first name or your last name. You're going to choose one or the other. And so I decided to write a story today using the wheels is the W sound, W. And so I have a story that I'm going to read to you. And what's fun about this type of writing is that it doesn't necessarily have to make sense. It needs to make sense like the actual full sentence, but it can kind of go in any direction you want. And so listen to my story. And it doesn't, keep in mind, when you're writing the story, not every single word you use in the story has to have that sound, but it should be most of it. Majority, like 80% of the story should have that sound in it. So this is my story, and it is continuously using the W sound. This is alliteration. When Miss Wheels woke up, she went windsurfing in wavy waters while wearing winter attire, when suddenly a western wobbly walrus wandered her way. She wished with all her worth the walrus was wonderful and not wicked. When the walrus was closer, she wailed, "Where were you when my wedding was here? What do you want? What do you wonder about my winter attire?" The western wobbly walrus wasn't aware Miss Wheels was watching. He whistled a whittle tune, waved a nice welcoming wave, and whooshed under the water. Miss Wheels then smelt a waft of a waffle and wanted a waffle more than wealth. Oh, that's my story. I'm going to require that your story needs to have at least 4 sentences. Mine has much more than that, but at least 4 sentences. And you are writing a story today using the figurative language element alliteration. And you're going to choose the first sound of either your first name or your last name. And you're going to write a story using alliteration, repeating that sound in your story. So once you do that, take a picture and send it to your teacher. I'm so excited because alliteration is my favorite figurative language element because it's so much fun. Can't wait to see what you come up with.